Hello, you guys. Welcome to another edition of In Between the Pages with James Lott Jr. I am James Lott Jr. And boy, are we going to go in between the pages of this book. This book is a beautiful cover here with beautiful artwork. We're going to talk about that also. So my guest is a Nigerian Canadian, folks. That's right, kids. Two great countries. Who grew up in Lagos, right, Nigeria. She took all kinds of African literature. This book reflects what she's learned and what she knows in here. There's lots of history in here. Lots of suspense, lots of heavy themes. It's great. But so she decided she was watching Passions, folks. I was just talking about that show the other day. I love it. So she has a mixture of that with her heritage. And this book's called Blood Scion, and it's good, kids. It is good. I say run, don't walk. Well, go to Amazon. You have to run, but go get it. It's a great read. I was happy to have Deborah Falaye. Deborah Falaye. Right?
Yeah, Falaye.
Deborah Falaye. How are you, Deborah? Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Again, okay, I want to talk about this cover. So who did the cover? It's beautiful.
Taj Francis. Oh my God, he's such a magician. I was like, when they told me that we were gonna get Taj, I was like, wait, we're gonna get Taj. Like, he's gonna do the cover. Yeah. And he's absolutely incredible. Like, the vision, everything he did with it is just like unreal. Yeah, that's the best way I can describe it. It's just unreal.
No, it is. It's, again, representation matters. And seeing something like this on a cover of a book, some people may think, yeah, who cares? No, it really does make a difference. It's like album art and other kinds of art. Seeing this, because it actually reflects what is inside the book. You know what I mean? Like I remember in the old days, I'm a little older than you are, but in the old days, they'd have album covers that didn't reflect who the artist was.
Yeah.
Like, come on, folks. Like, they made no sense. This cover reflects what you're about to read. So congratulations.
It's the perfect representation.
Yeah, no, it is. And I noticed you have a gap in your teeth like I do.
I do.
Well, mind the gap. Mind the gap, folks, because I always said that we were sex and we're smart.
Oh my God, my mom used to tell me that. She's like, it means that you're smart. And I was like, okay, fine.
See? My mom has one too. She gets to give it to half her kids. You all got it. Don't mention that. That's very nice. I like that. So this book, I was telling her before we got on, it's a page turner, folks. And it's not a light read. I'm just telling you right now. But it's a good read. It's one of those things when you get in there, you want to read more, you want to hear more, you want to see more. When I say see with your mind, you want to see more. There's some things I just wrote down. I'm like, I go, where to begin? That's what I wrote there too. Sloane's main character, boy, does she go through a lot, or had been gone through a lot. I was bad English.
She keeps going through a lot.
She's going through a lot. There is history, there is pain. There are things that are universal in themes, I wrote down. Fantasy, but felt real. So I wrote. I want a series. Okay.
So, book 2's coming. So
it's coming. I also want a TV series. So streaming Netflix, Disney Plus, somebody pick this up.
Please, someone make it happen.
Whoever. This is. I was reading this. I can envision this into a series. Seriously, Paramount Plus, somebody.
That'd be so cool.
I also wrote down pain, history, very African, which is great. These are all the pluses. And it's great places to mind because of the childhood stuff mixed in with what's going on now. So, first of all, tell potential readers the premise of the book.
Okay. Oh my God. I always get so nervous when it comes into
it's in your words. It's your baby girl. Besides your working major, it's your other baby.
Okay. Well, Blood Scion is a YA fantasy, which is inspired by my Yoruba culture and especially the war on children. And it, focuses on a main character named Sloane, who is a descendant of like the ancient Orisha gods. So at 15 years old, she's just been drafted into the military to hunt people that are exactly like her. And what that means is basically she's a descendant of the Orisha gods. She has powers, but now she has to basically become a child soldier and start killing others who are exactly like her. But then she just takes that opportunity to not only survive the military, but also decide that she's going to do whatever it takes to take down the oppressors. And she's willing to do whatever it takes, even if it means becoming the very monster that she obviously hates. And that's the shortest premise of the book.
No, seriously, folks. You can't give anything else away because, I mean, you have to read the book. That's literally just like a tidbit of what you're talking about.
It is. That's the best. I can say without digging into spoilers.
Right. No spoilers. But I'm saying she's if that don't enough get you like, wow, there's way more in there. I mean, there's way more in there. That's the thing too. I think, as I said, for any young Black woman actress, it's a meaty part. Oh, it's a meaty part. There's so many layers to the.
There is
a lot of layers to her. Okay. So I mean, how do I ask this question? I'm like, you grew up in Nigeria, but did you see any of this yourself? We've all heard about it, but for you, do you know personally about this?
Yeah. So I mean, I grew up in Nigeria. I was 12 when I left. I was lucky enough that I didn't experience any of the really bad stuff. But there's definitely snippets of my childhood in the story. As a young girl growing up in Nigeria, there was this thing where it's like, you're coming back from school, you have to be careful, don't interact with strangers, don't talk to anything, because kidnapping was something that was really big. That's it's still even big to this day, right? So as a kid, you kind of go through that where it's like, okay, you're walking home, got to be careful, just go from school, go home, go from home, go to school. My parents, I was very much like my dad is very overprotective, I will say. So he made sure that whenever I was headed out, there was always someone, a family member with me. But, the whole aspect of the child soldier in the story, I remember working on this book back in 2012 was when I started writing Blood Scion. And I think I was 2014, I was in university, just about to wrap up. And there was this huge thing that started this Bring Back Our Girls, because, because those girls in Nigeria, the school in Nigeria had just been kidnapped, and it became this huge global frenzy. Yeah. And, me being Nigerian, I remember speaking about it in my psychology class back then. And I was like, it's hard for me because these kids are 12 years old, 13, 14, 15, and this had just happened to them. So the idea of them being kidnapped, it brought back those memories of growing up there and being warned, be careful, this is something that happens. So it's I'm here now, a little bit of an adult, and I'm hearing that this just happened, and it just sent me into a frenzy. I went Googling, I went searching, I wanted to know. It wasn't just about the media frenzy for me of the hashtag and pictures and Bring Back Our Girls. No, it was these are kids who were like me, who grew up in Nigeria like me, and I wanted to know what happened. And I think that sent me into this frenzy of just not only finding out and researching about this war on children, but also kids being turned into child brides, and kids being turned into child soldiers, and kids being turned into suicide bombers. And at the time, like I said, I just started working on this story 2 years prior. And I knew I wanted to focus on my culture, but I also wanted to do something a bit more with it. So when this story came out and me researching, everything just clicked. It just all came together, and it was okay, this is what the story is. It's not only about a celebration of my culture, but it's also my way of understanding how is it that you're able to take little kids and turn them into these weapons, turn them into these soldiers, what's that dynamic like? And basically the story evolved from there.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, that's one way of taking almost being full circle, or or look at kind of a catharsis of sorts, and you're able to write about something that's happening in your homeland that's not good, but turning into something that could be a story and actually be into a story of a powerful young woman who, yes, very flawed in some ways. Like I said, it's a difficult situation, but the intentions are there. Sloane has the intentions of doing good, and she's a product of her situation. She's trying to come out of the situation and survive how she can, which means as humans, we're complex. It's not just, black and white.
It's not just black and white. there's a lot of gray in there.
There is, and we need to embrace that a lot more. That we have to forgive a lot of people, a lot of situations, or ourselves sometimes, when we are faced in certain situations that are above and beyond us of some level. I think that's something there. That's amazing. Now, so actually writing the book, coming up with the concepts. So you have that stuff going on, but like, how did you come up with this concept where you're going to turn her into someone who's now going to turn on her oppressors? And I mean, just how did that?
Well, I mean, I think that, as Black people growing up in like the Western world, like we're very familiar with, colonization and oppression and these things, right?
Yes.
So for me, the moment I realized that this book was going to be set in a fictional Nigeria, a lot of like the pieces of like how Nigeria used to be colonized, like it all came into the picture. Like I knew that this was going to be a story based on colonization. I knew that the concept was going to go around being about a girl who was trying to take back everything that's been stolen from her and her people. So I just ran with it, because for me, it's like, looking at like my own homeland, like Nigeria being like my country, it's like we see these things and they talk about like, when the West talks about like places like in Africa, it's like, oh, these places, like they've got issues, they've got problems and whatever. But no one really wants to dig into how colonization affected these places and just how impactful it was and the legacy that it left behind, not just on the countries itself, not just on the continent, but also in the lives of the people. People who are still living there. Like I've got family members who are living there, and their struggle, you can trace it all back to like the fact that colonization happened. So it's like, why are we not discussing that? And I think that to me as a concept was something that I wanted to really bring forward with this book. Like, let's look at the impact of colonization. Let's look at it in the lives of like this 15-year-old girl who's now being forced to reject her culture, reject her name, and reject everything she is in order to survive, right? And then they take it a step further and they're like, well, all the things that you rejected, we're going to live on your land. We're going to dress like you. We're going to steal everything from you and profit from you. And you're just going to be there in silence, struggling not to get killed,
right.
Right. So yeah, I feel like that concept just sort of like evolved once again from that. And I was like, well, no, she's not just going to stand back and sit back and let you guys do this. Like, what if I was to put power in the hands of a 15-year-old girl that you guys are trying to turn into a weapon? And then she takes that, all of the lessons that you guys have put into her, and she turns it back on you. She takes your gun and she turns it back on you. Like, how's that going to look? And I think that basically is like at the core of the story.
Yes, I agree. Now, let's see. Yeah, no, all that is, and that can resonate in many other countries. Mm-hmm. That can resonate, as a story can resonate even in America on some level, because you're in Canada, I'm in America, we're both in the Americas, both in North America. And there's a story I watched a couple of years ago, the Book of Negroes.
Oh my God.
That was so good. That was from Canada. That was so good.
Yeah,
it was so good. Because I had never known.
Powerful.
I never knew that side of the story. I know this side of the story down here.
Yeah.
I come from slaves. So I know this down here. But
that's got its own skeletons.
Right. It was a great story. It was a great
story. Incredible. Yeah.
But that's the thing. This book, I want people to know that you don't have to go through be Nigerian to understand. There's other, you can relate it to other things, and put yourself in her place and just in another part of the world and go, wow, if I was this, and they're going through something like, or some kind of oppression anywhere else. We have oppression in America, there's oppression in the United States. I mean, there's things that go on that you can literally understand the turning on the person in power.
I mean, and I think it's, I love the fact that you also just mentioned the States because, at the time when this book was being written, over the years, we've seen the brutality against Black people, not just in the States, in Canada, but, we see it, and we're as Black people, we're there and we're seeing these things, and it hurts so much, and I think there was, one part in the book that I was writing as, one of these situations was like happening. And, in that moment, Sloan said something along the lines of, how is it that even though they are the ones with their hands to the gun, like they're the ones with their hands to the weapon, somehow like we're still like the object of like their oppression, the objects of their fear, and I feel like I remember breaking down in that moment because it was very difficult for me because I hadn't meant to write that line. But I read it back and I was like, wait a minute, this is what I feel as a Black person in these moments when there's horrible things are happening, when the brutality keeps going, these are the fears and these are the ways that I'm thinking that somehow is being replicated in this book, in this fictional world, set in like a fictional Nigeria, but it's like the issues and like, the pain and the trauma, they're all still the same, like they're all still there. So I just think, I thought that was like really interesting when you brought that up because there's shades of everything in there.
Yes, and that line is a very powerful line because we're asking that question all the time.
Yeah.
There's 9 of you with guns on us, and we're the ones.
Somehow it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It never will.
No, I agree. It never will. No matter how you slice it or cut it or try to explain it to us, it will never make sense. And that's very interesting. Now, also, was there, as you were writing it, because let's get deep in between the pages. I'm a writer also, so I want to know how you thought about this. So as you were writing it, were you also thinking, I also got to make this entertaining? Because you are, I mean, this is a book.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So what was that line for you?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like, I'm an author and I'm a fiction writer. So of course, like being especially like in YA and like even adult, but like in YA, it's like my thing is to make sure that this book is good. Make sure that you're, as a reader, entertained. And so the struggle for me became like, I didn't want to romanticize all of these big things, like these big issues that I was putting into the story, especially the whole child soldier element. Like I was like, I didn't want to romanticize that. Like for me, if you come out of the book feeling like all happy and good, I've done a terrible job, because then it means that I've taken something that's beyond me and I've ruined it. So I didn't want to do that. But at the same time, I also knew that first and foremost, like this is not a history book. It's not a memoir, it's not any of that. It's still at its root fiction. So balancing that, it was, I mean, you see parts of the story that's, entertaining and fun and, the adventure and, all this stuff. But I just still wanted to make sure that it was still grounded in like the brutality of what was going on, So you get to relax a little, but don't relax too much.
Oh, relax. I didn't relax that much. I was like, okay. But no, but I know what you mean. It's one of those things where you don't want to make light of what a serious subject it is, but also you're entertaining. So you want them to, this subject has to be interwoven somehow into the story. I mean, that's any kind of heavy topic, folks out there. When you write a story, we're entertaining you, but also, does it make sense to the story? Is it furthering the story? Is it giving a character more depth? but also we don't make light of it either. It's
oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we take it very serious.
Oh yes. Oh my
yeah.
goodness. It's I'm American, so I mean I was born here, raised here, but I come from Caribbean parents. I come from slavery. I come from. I mean I've never been to Africa. I want to go one day. I like seriously want to go. I've been to the Caribbean many times, but I've seen pieces of African culture in the Caribbean. Right, I haven't been to actual Africa. We have this interesting relationship. African Americans, or I should say North American Blacks, and then there's African American. I mean Africans. It's very. We're almost kind of like we're starting to see some stuff like there's Bob and Appichola is our big show here in America.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's really big, and there's little bits and pieces are starting to happen. There's a director friend of mine, Nzinga Stewart, who does all this directing stuff. She told me the story on my show about how she went to West Africa, saw the point where many of the slaves, the line, they call the famous line when they go on the ships, and how her name wasn't Nzinga. It was some American white sounding name. But when she went there, something hit her. Once they crossed that line, they told them their name wasn't Blank anymore. Their name was whatever name. We saw it in Roots, of course, Toby and all that. But they all went through that. So she actually changed her name to an African name on purpose in Hollywood.
Wow.
Knowing folks be like, what? You know how everybody gets those names. So,
yeah.
But she did. She kind of went. So that's like we're starting to get connection. We're starting to feel like.
Oh yeah. You're starting to see it, and I think that's the power that people are taking back for themselves, right? Something that was taken away, and you're digging into your own past, you're digging into your own ancestry, and you're doing what you want to do that makes you feel connected back to your roots. We've seen like a rise in stories, in YA especially, like with Black writers and whatever, like just coming up with like these stories and like putting these Black characters front and center in their books. And I read like every author letter that comes with that, and it's so powerful to hear people talk about how this story is like a connection, a way for them to trace their connection back to their roots, and how the story is like a bridge between who they are as like Americans and like who they used to be and their ancestors used to be. So I think there's something powerful there in being able to like go back into like history and trace it all back and pick from that what you want and just piece it together to form like your own identity away from the identity that they're trying to give to you.
And many of the Nigerian descendants I know of are once they're in Europe or the other places where and they talk about going to Europe, maybe either migrating to Europe or being brought over there, how it is, and it's a little different. So and a lot of the history is right. It's in their names.
Yeah,
how they look. Where we're still a little further removed.
Right.
So many generations. But I feel like I feel a connection on some level too. I feel like it's Mother Africa. I mean, that's what it is. We all come from
there. The mothership.
Mothership. We all come from there. Hello, folks. No matter what race you are, you all come from Africa. Like, we all come from there. That's what it begins. I mean, I do, and I'm fascinated by it. And I just think that we should all look to it because it's part of history.
It is, yeah.
We don't have to always separate either. It's part of history. It's part of world history.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a huge place. It's a huge place. I was smiling because I know some Nigerians in England. And of course, one of the ones who's half Nigerian is the singer Sade, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And what's funny is, because one of the things towards the end of the book, she's doing this whole thing about full of Sade.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, yeah, that's her full middle name I read. And her name is Helen for Sade Adu.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, Sade.
Her Sloan's name is inspired by Sade because that's like my favorite artist.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. I didn't even know that. I didn't know that. Yeah.
That's like my favorite artist. So like, I was like, yeah, this is what her name is. This is who she is. I love Sade. I listen. Her songs got me through the book. I will say that.
I love that. No, she's so good. She's so talented.
Oh, she's incredible.
Oh, yeah,
she's incredible.
Yeah, so I love that.
Kind.
So I mean, okay, so you're thinking, are you writing book 2 already? We're getting some more stuff going?
Oh my God. I can say it's definitely more chaotic.
Oh, cheese and crackers. I want to read it, of course. I'm like, gee, I'm still like, I'm passing this on to my brother who wants to read this. So I'm passing this on to him. So just keep the books coming. We'll keep them coming in my family. We'll keep reading them. It's more chaotic, more. Oh my goodness.
More chaotic, more pain. More tears.
Oh my goodness.
But I'm having the time of my life working on book 2. I say I'm like, it's the most ambitious book I've ever written, because it's very expensive. Like we're blurring the lines between past and present and future. So it's just I'm excited. I know book 1 hasn't even come out yet, but I'm excited for people to see how everything comes together in book 2.
Well, this book comes out next month, right?
Yeah, I mean, it comes out in like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
where's the time's just flying?
It's going by fast. There are folks contact me like in December or whatever. So it's going by fast. No, I mean, I'm just very excited because again, like Black Panther and other things we're seeing a world that is the majority is this world, and that they're brown, they're African, they're this. I love it. I think why not? There's enough books out there that are not like that, so I love that.
We're gonna make it blackity black.
Blackity black. That's right, girl.
Black.
Abel, we are blackity black this month, especially Black History Month in America. But no, this book is good, girl. It's called Blood Scion, you guys. It's coming out in March. When it comes out, I will let you guys know exactly what's going on, obviously, when it comes out. But I'll tell you what, but it'll be available everywhere. It'll be available on Amazon, all that.
Oh, right? Yeah, it's cropping up all over the place. It's going places.
Places, folks. And so are you, Deborah. So thank you so much for being on.
Thank you. Oh my God, this was such a joy. Thank you so much.
Well, when the second book comes out, you got to come back.
Oh, please. Like, book me in already. I'm ready.
I'm going to read it, girl. I'm going to have a glass of wine. I'm going to read it. Or something stronger. That's good. So tell me where they can find you. They want to find you online. Do you have a website or anything?
Oh, yeah. I mean, my website is coming. It's coming. It's definitely going to be launching before the book comes out. But right now, I'm on Instagram at Deborah Falaye. First name, last name. I'm on Twitter at dfalaye. And I'm dipping my toes into TikTok.
I'll follow you there. I'm a TikTok star. So
cool. I will go find you.
I will find you. My stuff's crazy, but yes, you will see me. I will see you. I will follow you on there. So I'll post it. I'll put it in the description, folks out there. So you can go ahead and follow her on the social media platforms. Again, Blood Scion is the book. And thank you, Deborah. Yes. And he gets the other book too. And I'm James Lott Jr. You can follow me where all James Lott Jr. is sold at James Lott Jr. and also media platforms everywhere. It's everywhere. Just follow me everywhere. And we will see you next time on In Between the Pages when we go in between the pages.
Yes.